All right. Chaos Conversation back in the building. Here on 72.9 The Voice. On Hump Day, we here.
There we go.
Let's
There
go.
we go. Chaos Conversation.
Let's
Hey,
get
we're
it.
back live and direct. You check us out on Facebook, Chaos Conversation. You can check us out on Twitter, Chaos Convo 01. What's going on, Bruce?
Man, not a lot, man. This year getting by, man. It's already like the last month or the first quarter of the year, man. It's like, what in the world? Time getting away, man. Time flying, getting kind of old, getting kind of gray here too. But
Yeah, I got a few. I got a few.
Right.
I'll take care of that this
Hey,
week.
man. I ain't worried about my grade, man. I ain't worried about my grade because hey, you as young as you feel. That's all I know, man. Age ain't nothing.
Oh no, you as young as you look as well. Don't be fooled.
Man, shoot, man. I know guys that look
Just say that one name,
younger than I do and older than I do.
Oh, you know it. You know
black
there's quite a few people we went to high school with that they probably look like they're 50 years old.
Mm-hmm. You know it.
So it's all good. So what's on your mind this week, man? What's going on?
Oh man, this week, man, because everybody getting ready for the summer. So everybody's already preparing, some ladies can kind of sense and some men can kind of sense, their partners are not lying to them, but they kind of play around with the truth, trying to stretch the truth a little bit to leave that window open to go, go out here and shop around and see what's going on out here because everybody been on lockdown for this COVID all year round.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So some folks, some of y'all can see it, some of y'all can sense it from your partner, and it's coming, how they want to get away because they just, they've been with you all this time while COVID's been going on. But take, for example, this one couple, if for all y'all out there who be acting like this sometimes, it's all right, but it's like, know your limits of what I'm getting ready to say. Let's say the wifey or the woman of the house, let's take to the wifey. She's very spiritual, very religious, right, Sam? And those y'all tuning in, if your woman is like that, or your man happens to be like that, and let's just pick at the wifey for a second. If she wants to go back to church, just like some of y'all want to go back to the gym, you know what I mean? It's closed indoors, bunch of people there. The virus is still out here. It may have slowed down an inch or two, but not by much. But if the wifey wants to go back to church and get in all activities, food giveaway, Wednesday service, Sunday service, wants to go back and really get back involved in the church, right?
Right.
Now, Sam, do you think that it's wrong for the husband? I'll say it again, husband who is the head of the household to reject her and tell her to stay home and actually get in an argument with her because this is her religious belief we're talking about.
Now, why would you say the husband is the head of the household?
Well, that's what they live upon. They're old school. That's what they live upon. That's the way they work. He pays all the bills. He makes all the calls. She only will try to interfere if she disagrees. Like, for example, he's one who believes no fun for the kids unless they do all their homework and do all their chores in a timely manner. He's like, that kind of, he's the alpha male kind of figure.
Gotcha.
Like you'll tell. But so they're very old school. Man works, woman stays home, takes care of the household. They're old school, but now, they're also like, hey, they try to live by the Bible. And he's like, well, if you may, pick up where your father left off, did you ever give your father any lip when he said stay home? And she's like, nah. He's like, all right, well, you also set a bad example for the kids because she wants to go back and get involved in church. He's like, no, you don't need to be around a bunch of people because it's just as bad as going to the bar. You can be around people and you don't know who got the virus, or what? Even with the mask on, you can be closed indoors. So, ladies and gents tuning in, help me understand what y'all think, because here's what I believe. If he's the head of the household, he's out there working, she's staying home, taking care of the kids or fixing the food, doing whatever. Why all of a sudden, when it comes to religion or her belief level or how she feels, why all of a sudden do you think why would they even stop letting him be head of the household if he's been making all the calls before, during, and even after this COVID has been going on? I mean, help me understand. I'm saying, why would they want to stop now? Because I back him up if he's head of the household.
I mean, what do you think? I could care less who's head of the household. It's really all on their agreement and what they've agreed upon. So if they've agreed on this the scenario where, you know, an individual won't go to wherever until they have a vaccine, you know.
He
I think
can't.
they, I think they should, I think they should hold each other to that standard, unless they've had some additional conversations where, you know, some other or new agreement had come about and is now in effect, you know. But it's just to switch it up all of a sudden and assume, you know, because that's the key word right there. Assume that the other person will just be okay with whatever decision you've made or whatever choice you've made. You know, that's a bit much.
Now, see, check this out, though, Sam. They've both gone to get their flu shots and the vaccine shots. And that's why she feels a little bit more comfortable and confident in being around. And then she's telling him, you know, oh, well, you know, it's the house of God. And the house of God won't let no virus of, you know, evil enter his kingdom and stuff like that. And he's like, you know what, stop. Because there's been, no, this is him. There's been enough cases where a lot of people at churches, this is before the vaccine shots came out though, a lot of people at churches were getting, you know, hit with the COVID. This is before the vaccine shots came out, but she feels because the vaccine shot and they both got flu shots and their kids and all that they're good to go. But he's like, no, you know,
it's still,
don't go, stay home.
It's still being super spreader events and places are still, church is still one of the big places, you know. The CDC did, not to get off topic, but the CDC did come out with some new evidence, or not evidence. I want to see the evidence. They haven't proven evidence to me, but are showing the evidence to the masses. But they said that if you've gotten both of your shots, it's okay for you to go out and be in places, you know, without a mask. But if you're in a place with somebody that is sick, that's knowingly sick, and you're in close quarters, you should still have a mask on. But the whole thing with that is you don't know if somebody's sick. That's the whole damn point of COVID. You don't know if somebody's sick. If somebody's got the flu, you can look at them and see they're sick. You know, they look like shit. You can see it. But somebody with the flu, somebody with COVID-19, they may not have any symptoms and may not even be sick, but can still give it to other people for, you know, 2 or 3 days or whatever. So I don't know.
Hear that?
I feel like even if you've gotten the shot, I've had family members that's gotten both shots or whatever, or they haven't gotten the new vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson joint. That's only one shot. But people that have gotten the vaccine and they still wear their mask. And then one person, I had to call them out because they were going around to certain places, you know, they weren't, because when you go in certain places, when you go in most places, you still have to have a mask on. But they were going in like houses and being around a lot of other people that didn't, and they didn't have a mask on. And I was like, you know, there's no evidence saying that if you get this COVID vaccine that you can't get COVID. You know, you can still get COVID. You may not die. And that's really what a vaccine is. Like if you get the flu shot, it doesn't say that you won't get the flu. It just says if you get the flu, it won't be as bad, or you may not die from getting the flu, you know? So I think people need to educate themselves on what vaccines' purpose is. You know, it's just introducing your body to a little bit of the virus so that your body can build up antibodies so that if you do get whatever you took the vaccine of, you won't get as sick.
Yeah, and see that's the thing about it, man. When for this couple, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of y'all tuning in on 72.9 The Voice. There's a lot of y'all couples may not be married. Okay, may not be married. So this is some practice for y'all, because don't forget, these are old. This is an old school couple now. They live in the old generation. You know, man works and she stays at home. So she's the one watching all the TV and news that Sam was just talking about. You know, we got the shots, we got this, so our chances of getting it are lower. And that's why she feels so comfortable and confident. Plus, you know, she has God on her side and things like that. But it's not that he don't believe her. It's not that he don't know this. He's not aware of it. It's just he feels it's taking too much of a chance, because like Sam just said, you can't tell who got the virus, who don't. Now, even if they have on a mask at church and they cough and, you know, it's like a sneeze or something, it's like you can't tell, you can't see it. So he wants to take least amount of chances as possible. Now, one thing he did do, though, Sam, and this is one thing, for those y'all tuning in, listen how this goes now. He said the only way he's down with it is if they are going to have church outside. Now, that is somewhat reasonable. If you're going to have church outside and you're still going to have on a mask, and I mean, it's going to be nice outside this week. So here in North Kakalaki, you know what I mean? So if he's leaving that part open, if I was this couple, because we have a few more topics we have to touch on. If I was this couple, I would just go ahead and call the pastor, call whoever's doing the church, giveaways and gatherings, whoever's in charge of it. I would just email them and say that you will to ask them, kind of push them to make it so the church service is done outside. And that way, not just this husband, but a lot of other spouses and people who want to be there won't feel that their chances won't feel so closed in, if that makes sense. I mean,
also, why can't they do a virtual church? A lot of I've watched some
hey, you know what?
sermons and services that are virtual, and now that they're virtual, guess what? You can watch a church sermon. You can live here and watch a church sermon in another language in another country. You can live on the East Coast and watch a church. You can watch your church sermon here at 11 a.m. East Coast time, and then watch one 3 hours later, West Coast time at 11 a.m., or 10 a.m. or whatever time you want to. So I feel churches need to get a little bit more creative. And if the pastor can't do it himself, guess what? I'm sure there's a few people, though, that know how to hook up a webcam and stream the service on YouTube or some other, wherever you want to stream it, Facebook, wherever, and or Zoom.
Yep.
And make it happen, because guess what? At the end of the day, you want your church, especially these prosperity ministries, you want people giving you money. Guess what? They got to be alive to give you that money.
There you go. Well, you know what, Sam, that's interesting. But before we move on to this next topic, man, it's interesting you say that, because when I asked him, or when him and I talked about it, he was like, well, my wife says she can't catch the Holy Spirit over the internet because it's not the same. And I was like, is that one of the main reasons she wants to go back? Or she really want to go back to help people and praise God and, be around other? I mean, so is that the main reason is that one of the main reasons? He's like, I don't know, but she did bring it up. And I was like, well, I said, bro, it's all about the respect. And it's not a matter if she don't respect you. It's the way she's looking at it from her point of view is you don't respect her religious belief or her religion, her feelings for religion. That's the way she's looking at it.
Yeah,
from
feelings
her point of view.
for religion, because that's not a religious belief. Saying that you're gonna go to church even though there's a pandemic with no mask. I'm talking about you going.
That's common sense.
That's
common sense.
Belief. I think people say a lot of crazy stuff these days that they call religion, which has nothing to do with religion.
No,
especially these people, a lot of these right-wing nuts that claim a lot of this religious beliefs, yet. So hopefully opposite on a daily basis.
Yeah, hopefully that helps some of y'all out who have, who may have that going on in your house. So just know it's not respect. It's those who are trying to stop the COVID from coming in the house, from getting in the family. They're trying to show a sign of respect of their temple of God and every other temple of God that's in their house. That's what they're trying to do. They ain't trying to dish you in any form or fashion. All right. Well, hopefully that answers your question. We can move on to this next topic Sam got going on. Go ahead, Franklin.
We had some interesting conversations with some people the past few weeks, and we had one where a listener hit us up, and they were they were having an interesting conversation, and it was this young man. I say young, he was in his early 30s, and his wife was like a year younger than him. So both in their early 30s. And essentially they were talking about pregnancy, some things like that. And he essentially said, he brought up that he said it like in an offhand way. He didn't seem like he was joking, but he did say it, so it wasn't a joke. He said essentially that if his girlfriend got pregnant, his fiance got pregnant, he would want to get a DNA test.
Really? Okay, Maury.
Man. And
okay, you know what? That's too much Maury right there already. But okay,
but it was, and essentially, his fiance flipped out on him and was like, "Oh, you don't trust me," blah blah blah. But then after digging a little bit further, it came to my attention after he went a little bit further that they were in a situation where one of his best friends had a situation where he got a girl pregnant. Well, he thought he got a girl pregnant, and it turned out that she had cheated on him with another person, and that he started to raise his child and come to find out it was this other guy's child, and all that stuff or whatever. So he's had some.
How long did he raise him?
I think it was like a year or two, still pretty young, like a year or two before he found out and got the DNA test. So it wasn't the guy, but it was his friend that had this situation happen to him. So, he probably had this in the back of his head. And, so I guess the question is to you, clearly trust is an issue. And it may not, and I guess the trust is with his fiance, maybe not so much with her, but his past experiences with friends and things he's seen and witnessed have played a role on him in terms of pregnancy, it seems like. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, it goes to what a lot of people do, man. And that's what I call bringing that baggage of bullshit with you when it's not always necessary. And I call it the BS because it's one thing to have experience, but taking experience, people need to learn how to take the good from the experience and leave all the bad behind. Let the bad, just learn from the bad and leave the bad behind. If a man cheats on you, a woman cheated on you, or whatever, learn from that and then leave the bag behind. Don't keep taking it into the next relationship because it's going to affect your partner / spouse to come, which is negativity not needed. So I'm gonna say that there's a lot on his part that he need to work on, but at the same time, if he learned from it, then there's many other options that are out there to to have your girl try. Like, there's tests that she can take. There's, listen for the, not just her time of the month that's coming, but if it comes or it don't, try to just like things you got to do around it to see, okay, to make sure this is your child. It's like, the average time frame is, just keep what I call, he needs to keep his third eye open and to the ground. That's what I would advise him to do.
Right.
Keep your third eye open and to the ground and try your hardest not to assume.
Yeah, I think it's definitely some trust issues there. Regardless of what has happened to other people, even if it happened to yourself, there would still be, if your current fiance has never cheated on you and has never given you a reason to think that she would, why would you, make a statement like that? Like, oh, I'm going to, regardless of, because essentially that's what he said. He said, she asked him if you think I would cheat on you. And he was like, no, but I still want a DNA test. It's like, okay, maybe I can see it both perspectives that he's like, well, I want to see a DNA test regardless. But usually people say that when either you don't trust somebody or there's a reason that you think that they may have been sleeping with someone else and got pregnant,
Yeah, if I was her, I'd do the same thing for him that I did. Now, are they married or you said they're engaged, right?
Yeah, engaged, yeah.
Okay. And I would do something like make a bet with him. Because that's what I used to do. If you're so sure, put some money on it. Put something on it that's gonna make your butt think. And don't expect to get it back. It's like, all right, I tell you what, once we do the test, if you are the father, then you gotta, take us both on a 2-week cruise or some mess like that. Have them pay for it in a fun way. Have fun with it, but don't try to, because that's what couples' biggest. I'm not even in a committed relationship right now, but that's one of the couples' biggest challenges is whenever one has something they demand or want or claim they need. I think it comes from watching too much TV. The partner wants to fight it right away. And it's like, don't fight it. Just go with the flow and be like, hey, you know what? I'll go with your flow under these terms and conditions. Now, if they're backing away from the terms and conditions, there's that flag on the play. You need to learn how to catch. There's that flag on the play. You learn how to catch on to and be like, all right, well, you ain't about to sit here and have everything your way. You say you want this test, fine. As soon as you're the dad, because you're the only one I'm messing with, she should say something like this. It ain't got to be word for word, but okay. Then once it shows you're the dad, then you got to pay for something.
Bruce,
because
you are the father.
Dude,
get up and do your dance.
Dude, man. them guys in that bar should be jumping off chairs, man. They be running down like they got the damn Holy Spirit in them.
They be like, you are not the father. They do be moonwalking across the stage.
Oh yeah, man. They be like one dude, man, said they throw his hood on, like, yeah, I told you so. And they be playing music like, they play them all kind of crazy music, man. With in situations like that, that's nothing to break up a relationship for. That's something right there to go ahead and go through the fire, learn from each other. But I tell people, look at the positive. Don't let the cons outweigh the pros if he's demanding that. Just have fun with it. It's get through it together, because that's one thing about, they're engaged. That's one thing about marriage is getting through stuff, not trying to beat one down when one's
they're not
already
married. They're not married yet, so I mean, this could be a big red flag that he doesn't trust her. That he's got some trust issues going on.
Like I said,
also at the same time, maybe she's giving him a reason to not trust her. But if she has not given him a reason to trust her, then maybe he's got some deep-seated issues. And clearly, based on what he said, he does have some trust issues, because this happened to his friend, his best friend. So clearly he's thinking about it, or he's maybe trying to safeguard. He's trying to put up a wall and not trust his fiance. Why would you want to be engaged to somebody and marry somebody that doesn't trust you? You know what I'm saying?
And how old is this couple?
31, 32.
Okay, they're out there at the not really the peak, but they're somewhere at the peak, because 20s is normally when you go through stuff like that and get over it. But they haven't gone through it enough yet. I mean, you're looking at marriage. I mean, like I said, it's challenge each other. Challenge each other. It's there's so many options out here, ladies and gents. But I'm here on 72.9 The Voice. We're just going to keep it real with you. We're going to try to tell you what you want to hear, because it ain't always going to help you in the long haul. And I would tell all y'all, I'm going to tell all y'all this, whether you're dating, engaged, or you're dating, committed, engaged, or married. Right now, listen to this, because not many people even get this, but listen to this very closely. There is sometimes some suffering. There is sometimes some sacrifices. There's stressing. There's submission. And there's a lot of surrendering you may or may not have to do to get to the success in a relationship. Not just in a relationship, but I mean, that's anything. Politics, sports, career. There's always suffering, sacrificing, stressing, submission, surrendering you may have to do to get success and whatever you want to. And believe it or not, relationships is one of them. I mean, fellas, you may have to submit to your woman sometimes. I don't know what it's going to be about her making more money than you. Just submit, accept it, and do like Barack Obama, move on, and you still can be head of the household, even though your woman makes 6 figures and you only make 5. You know what I mean? It's all right. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Times are different now than it was back in the day when, a woman could barely work. A woman making 6 figures from home now, Sam. So it's different. So those are the 5. Those are actually the S's. In success, though. Those are the 6 S's to see success.
What's on your mind next? What's going on?
Man, well, I mean, it's it's summertime. You know that, man. It's summertime, and so it's like everybody's so because the COVID is still around. People are still walking around. What I see a lot of people doing, Sam, is they're not wearing masks when they're around people, but the minute they get around people, they're starting to put the mask on. And what they're forgetting is somebody could have just walked past your area and not had a mask on and still sneezed or coughed, and germ could have spread, right?
Yeah, there could have been a cloud. They've proved it. Like let's say you were outside and you were walking. Yeah. There was very little breeze outside, and we're talking about within a few seconds of each other. I walk by, I have no mask on. Let's say last week I was exposed to COVID, so now I'm starting to. My only symptoms are, slight little throat hurting or whatever, nothing big. But now it's day 7, so now I'm contagious. I cough a few times into the air. I don't cough into my arm because I'm outside. I just cough. A jogger's coming by. They don't have a mask on because they're jogging. Yeah. They're coming by within about 2 seconds of me coughing. So the wind really hasn't blown whatever I've coughed into the air away. They jog by, boom. And they have their mouth open because they're breathing hard because they're jogging or whatever. and now they potentially are exposed to something. And that's why the mask is so important. You know, you got these anti-maskers. I know you saw that video at Bed Bath & Beyond.
That's crazy.
Damn, Karen out there getting her butt beat down by 3 people at Bed Bath & Beyond because she refused to put on a mask, and then gonna try to fight the employees. It's like, you're ridiculous, dude. You're potentially, if you're sick, you're potentially exposing everyone in there, dude. Like, people it's just selfishness, man. I don't understand it. I've never seen, there's no other country on this earth where people are so selfish the way we are in the United States. And I guess that's just the culture we have in this country. The people in this country are extremely selfish now.
Because, and see, check this. I don't think this is selfishness or what I'm getting ready to tell you, but it's almost what I was talking about earlier. Suppose, you know, I'm gonna go back to a committed couple. I ain't talking about, you know, married yet. I'm talking about committed, whether it's engaged or just, so if let's say that they're smart enough, they don't stay together yet. They're still giving themselves time to, you know, get to know each other. Let's say it's been 8 to 10 months, almost a year, and they're like, hey, honey, you know, why don't you come chill with me? And the ladies, let's finish picking at the ladies, you know, because I know y'all be getting into that. The ladies like, you know what? No, we're going to have girls' night out.
Okay.
And the fella's like, okay, you're gonna have girls' night out rather than come here and chill with me. All right.
That's cool. That's fine.
And then he's like, I'll tell you what, if you go out and you come back with one symptom, I don't care if it's temperature, cough, sneeze, any of those. Now, sometimes that's just, everybody has to cough and sneeze at least some point in their life, man. So he's like, if you come back and show any symptom of any kind, you know, he's like, you ain't getting none for the rest of this quarter or this year or this month or whatever. Do you think he's overreacting if he or she does that to their partner, saying either you come here with me, if you go out with your friends where there's a bunch of people and you show one symptom, you ain't getting no benefits, you know, for the rest of this, you know, month, week, year. Do you think that's overreaction? Only in a committed relationship.
I mean, you know what? I mean, I'm not gonna blame anybody because guess what? What if somebody's very
got some allergies or sciences, you know what I mean? And it's that season coming up too.
Yeah, but what I've seen over the course of this whole COVID thing is that you typically got 3 types of people, right? You got the people that don't give a shit. You got the people that are cautious. You got the people that are but taking the necessary steps to protect themselves and, you know, anybody in society or whatever by wearing a mask when they go inside somewhere. They have hand sanitizer in their car. They might have some wipes to wipe down their car. When they come inside, they wash their hands immediately and, you know, maybe wipe down the groceries, stuff like that or whatever. Even though they say that people aren't getting sick really too much from touching groceries and stuff like that. But, you know, never hurts to be
overcautious.
Yeah, never too hurts to be careful. But then you have the people that are really overcautious where they don't really step out of their house too much. They don't really go too many places, take any chances. Maybe they're over washing their hands. Maybe they're over sanitizing their hands where their hands are starting to get chapped now. You know what I'm saying? They got to put on.
That's some OCD. That's some COVID OCD.
Straight up some damn chicken grease on their damn hands to keep them joints moisturized. They got straight cocoa butter nonstop. You know, and maybe they don't hang around people like they used to or whatever. I mean, everybody's doing that, but you have that third person that's taking it to the extreme. You know what I'm saying? So I think each person falls into that category. So if you know that your significant other really doesn't care so much, then maybe you can take those chances. But if you have a significant other that is on the extreme side where they don't ever leave the house too, maybe they're spraying. You walk in the door and they're spraying you. You got Lysol in your damn mouth because they're spraying you as you walking in the door. You know, that's the extreme. So if you know they're that extreme, then you probably should make some better decisions and choices when it comes to how you move and conduct yourself during this COVID time we're in right now. You know what I mean?
Well, see, I'm gonna say this here on 72.9 The Voice on Chaos Conversation, because this right here is just some straight talk. This is some straight talk. If you know, ladies and or gentlemen, if you know your ass is getting tired of being around your partner or your spouse all this time, hot damn it, just tell them. Just be upfront. Just be honest. Now, there are times you can give them clues. If they're ignoring your clues, like, who gives a damn? We staying here. If they're ignoring your clues, that's a sign of not really slight disrespect, but it's a sign of kind of selfishness in a way, because they're only looking at their point of view. But just let your partner know and be like, listen, either we gonna get out, because I ain't gonna lie to you, just because this COVID is going on, I've always said this, couples need to learn their rhythm and timing and know when to, part ways, not to separate, but just to give each other space, have the fellas night out, play some poker, have the ladies night out, do some shopping. But with this COVID going on, you still can have that. You have to just learn how to tell your spouse up front, listen, honey, I'm getting tired of same old because of this. And even though things have gotten better, that don't mean you got to be closing doors. It just means, know your boundaries and know your limits. Like if you have a ladies' night out, don't go to the gym where it's closing doors. Do something like go to the park where it's outdoors and you still can work out, walk around, jog. You know what I mean? So like have the boundaries. And at the same time, try to make your spouse or your partner a bit more confident. Do something like, all right, ladies, if we're going to go out on, what's the day today? The 8th? Let me see. Okay, the 8th is, now let's say, ladies, you guys are going to go have your ladies' night out. So let's put up a calendar real quick. Let's say you're going to have your ladies' night out on the 27th.
Help them guys to read the calendar.
That means if you're going to go have your ladies' night out the last Saturday of this month, that means you have enough time to go get a vaccine shot and, go get a test done where the results can come back. And you can have something to show your spouse or show your partner that, look, none of us are negative, I mean, do some Zoom calls and let your spouse or husband or woman, or let them see, ain't nobody coughing and ain't nobody showing symptoms. I mean, if they're really that insecure about you going out because he or she's afraid you might bring that symptom back in from this virus. I mean, that's just the way you got to do things while we're still under it, because the numbers are dropping, but they're not in the single digits yet. And ladies and gentlemen, you got to just kind of, if you are insecure in any form or fashion, you ain't got to let go, but you got to loosen up a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit.
We're definitely not where we want to be in terms of
that's just my take. No.
So I think people have to, people are finding interesting ways. Since I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you brought up that topic, people finding, I guess the question is, or the topic is people finding, love in this COVID world we're in right now. You know what I'm saying? People are using interesting means like, there's more dating apps ever right now. I mean, I'm married. I'm not even in that realm,
yep.
But I did some research just to figure out, especially after reading that article. I was trying to do my research without getting in trouble. and look at all the dating apps. And I was like, man, there's more dating apps. Because it used to not be apps or whatever. It was like websites, you know what I'm saying? Or, the people would just go to, but now it's all these different apps.
eHarmony.com.
Yeah, like all that stuff. I mean, all these other new apps or whatever that'll come out. Not just Tinder. There's 50 Tinders now. But people are trying to in this COVID world, and it can be very difficult, especially when you can't, be you can't be as physical as you want to be or as close as you want to be because of those jobs. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say you're working from home, Bruce, and you're trying to talk to this chick that maybe she's a TSA agent at the airport. and she, she's out in the public. She's around a lot of people. It's a risk. And if you're high risk, let's say you have a condition that puts you at high risk, you may not want to be exposed to that. But guess what? You could always, like you said, alter your plans. If you really want to get to know somebody, you're really trying to be with somebody, you'll make the effort and put in the effort, right? So like Bruce said, maybe you go to the park. Maybe you go to the park. Maybe you go outside somewhere. Like our friends, all of us, have we gotten together and hung out the way we usually do since COVID? No. But we've tried to hang out as much as possible. There's some great weather coming up this weekend. So guess what? We'll go hang out, maybe go grab a drink somewhere outside,
Outside. Y'all hear that? Outside.
Outside.
Not indoors where there's no outside and see if I were to be talking to somebody like that who's going to be in front of, who's going to be around a lot of people and be out and about. One thing I'm gonna have ready for her assets if she come near me is some of this Vachia, and also one of them daggum that's a hand sanitizer. That's right. Have some of that daggum what's that thing called, man? That thermometer, wireless thermometer, whatever that thing is called. Check some temperature every time she come around me, man. Shoot.
What if she
And
sneezes
it's like,
on
hey, if you qualify, hey man, I'm mess around and get my spray and be spraying her ass down like crazy. Shit. Get my virus spray and be like, oh, my fault. Shoot. You sure you're 6 feet away?
Now I don't want to get into too much.
Like I said, have fun with it.
I don't want to get into too much politics because we do our 30-minute segment for the radio show 72.9 The Voice. It's called Our Place in Politics. We do that live every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Or around 7:30.
Sure y'all tune in.
So yeah, tune in then. That's when we do our, it's all political talk or current events, I should say. Sometimes it's not politics, but current events. But speaking of politics, while we only have, 5 minutes here left or a little less, I saw that the Congress passed the COVID relief bill, and not one Republican in the Senate voted to support it. And so it was essentially a tie. And with the tie in the Senate, it goes to the vice president to break the tie, who is the president of the Senate. Vice president is Kamala Harris, and therefore she broke the tie.
It's Harris.
And the American people are now going, or the American people that need the extra money will get a little bit of relief. Should they get much more than this from the richest country on earth? Yes. But this is a little bit that will maybe make a big difference in some people's lives. So my question to you is, why do you think, number one, do you think this is enough? $1,400 if you make under, what was the amount? If you make under 150,000 or something like that, or 100,000, and also, why do you think Republicans, who a lot of their supporters are very low income, poor people on welfare, living in the backwoods and sticks, why do you think they continue to support the Republican Party, even though the Republican Party doesn't vote to support them? All right, looks like Bruce may froze there. I'm just looking at his sunglasses. So, yeah, so I mean, I think, so personally, this is my personal opinion. I think a lot of people, we've become this hyper partisan country now. And we've seen other countries, if you're a student of history and study other countries and their political systems and maybe some debates they have in those other countries, we've become this hyper partisan country where everything is seen as a game, right? This win or lose game where, Republicans have to win or Democrats have to lose, or Democrats have to win for Republicans to lose. Like, both parties can lose. We should be about helping the American people. Screw the partisanship and the left-right BS, Democrat, Republican BS, independent, libertarian, whatever, Green Party, whatever. It's all BS at the end of the day. People need help. People are hurting. Who cares about your so-called platform to your political party? It means nothing. You say you're a fiscal conservative, yet you drive up the debt when you get in office. It's BS. Oh, you say you're for more Medicaid, yet when you get office, you barely make a dent in it, helping people out. It's this constant battle and nothing goes anywhere. Fortunately, you do have one party that both parties, I mean, they do it to the same extent, both parties, but one party is worse than the other right now because of their dear leader, and they're worshiping him, a gold statue of him. But the people that support this party the most, they're being hurt, and they shouldn't be hurt during this time frame. They need the help, and that's who the money should be going towards, to get these people the help they need. That's the way it is. It shouldn't be the other way around. People need help, and let's make it happen and help the people as much as we possibly can. And as simple as that. All the other stuff is BS. It's all BS at the end of the day. None of this other stuff matters. Let's make it happen. Make people, and it is happening now, and I hope people do the responsible thing and, feed their families and do what they need to with this money, pay bills, trying to get too much in debt. But it's a trickle effect. it's definitely a trickle effect on what's going to happen to our economy. Based off of what we're seeing. So we have a long way to go. It's a hell of a mess. 45 got us into with this COVID mess. And the people that say he didn't get into us, his inaction got us into it. His narcissism. He thinks he's God. He thinks he knows better than everyone else. And this is what happens when you are someone that believes that. Other countries are far better off than we are, and we could have been a lot further ahead and gotten in front of this a lot easier. Had we listened to the science. As that little idiot put up that little poster on her wall in Congress. Listen to the science. Well, had we done that, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in. Over 500,000 people in the U.S. would not be dead because of a virus. Over 500,000. Think about that. Over 500,000 people dead. Over 500,000 people dead. It's probably touched all of our lives. Every single one of our lives. You either know somebody or you are friends with somebody that has a family member or someone that has passed away. So it's pretty crazy. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what the future is to hold. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You guys are still listening. Hey, this is 72.9 The Voice, Chaos Conversation. You can check us out live every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. You can check us out on Facebook, Chaos Conversation. You can check us out on Twitter, Chaos Convo 01. And as always, continue to support, be safe. We're almost out of this thing, man. If we could just wear masks for a few more months and get to summer, if we could just wear a mask and get to June, toward the middle of May, when they think most people in this country will be vaccinated over the age of 18. We can get through this, guys. Let's do it. Have faith in the process. Be a good human. Be a good citizen to the world and to this country. And let's make this thing happen so we can go back out into the world and do our thing. Until then, hey, we'll see you guys next time. Out.